Yeah, I'm Jim Rausch. I'm pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Muskegon. I've been there 7 years, and I'm glad to have an opportunity to share some of the motivating gifts of our congregation and the wonderful ways that God has used us, and how we're looking to the way that God has used us in the past to give us a clue as to the way that God will use us in the future. And so our people are motivated to get to know one another by serving in Supper House, which is an ecumenical food ministry, food trucks that we sponsor and bring to the community and then take and serve the food from. There are people who work with Family Promise, and we've become a Family Promise church where we have become aware that there's a homeless problem in our community that is beyond what can be served by the rescue missions. And the Family Promise has been around for 10 or 12 years, helping people to be housed in churches a week at a time, basically, for their overnight and for their morning and evening meal. And it's families that come in, and we get to know them, interact with them, but then in the daytime, they either go to their jobs and schools or they go to the day center, and Family Promise works with their families to help them be established. The Family Promise program, it actually has its own trailer full of these beds that they call cots, and they're spring beds that fold out. They're wonderful and great rollers. You can have up to 14 people staying in the church, and we have enough room for it. We roll the beds around, put them out. I've slept on them myself. They're really comfortable. The people at the church do the linens, so the laundry is all taken care of, and the people of the church provide an evening meal and activities and people to interact as the people want to, and a breakfast, which is really very simple, and then we provide transportation back and forth to the day center, and so we'll get to meet people for a week at a time doing this, and we do it about quarterly. There are about 10 or 12 churches that do this. My understanding is it's a way around the zoning issues that won't let you establish a homeless shelter for any length of period. So if they stay for a week, there's no issue. It's a way around that. And so as people have come in, as they stay overnight, we play games with the families and the kids. We have meals together. And I've seen members, for example, follow up with the families even after they've moved on from the church, taking them out to movies, getting involved together socially, finding out what schools they go to. And it's not to recruit members to the church. It's just a matter of they've met people that they really value. And it has also affected people knowing that, my goodness, my idea of who's homeless and why is being changed, because so many people are working poor or on the brink, and they look so much like others who say, boy, that for just but a paycheck, it could be me, whatever the circumstance may be. I've also seen some of the people who really didn't think this was something that we wanted to get involved with. It seems like those barriers have come down now that they understand more closely what's happening, how we're serving people, and what a little reaching out can do. They thought it would add a lot of custodial hours or a lot of, and really, and they also thought it was going to be hard to find enough volunteers to have drivers to bring them back and forth evening and morning, to serve meals every evening. The breakfast, we think of a really elaborate breakfast each morning, but it turns out that they really have to grab it and go. And so the breakfasts are very simple, the linens, and then the administration to make sure you get the volunteers and keep it going. Once you do the program and you hear from others who've done it, there really are no incidents. We had to make a provision. There's no smoking on our grounds. And when we adopted this, I talked to Session and I said, we may need to amend that a bit. And it was really fairly easy to do. We have a little can with sand in it that we have by a bench by our front door. And so for Family Promise Week, if someone has to, if that's something they need to do, or there's a way to accommodate that. But that was one of those small issues to overcome. But the program is so well run that if there's an emergency at night, our first person had an emergency at night with a mom who was expecting, and she needed to go to the emergency room. And because they have the procedures in place, It was lickety-split, no problem whatsoever. So the volunteers are trained. We always have 2 members of the church on hand, 24 hours, or not 24, but the whole time that people are there. And it just, little hesitations, what's it going to do to our building? What's it going to cost? Who's going to, get out of control? And it's nice to be able to break through those barriers by experience.